Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivadadari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Gopi Janavalabha Girivadadari Gopi Janavalabha Girivadadari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Shri Radhe Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Shri Radhe Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nasta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloki Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki. So continuing reading from the third canto, chapter 32, entitled Entanglement of Fruitive Activities, text number 8. Dviparadvatha saniya, dviparahavasaniya. Do that again. Dviparadvavasaniya, dviparahavasaniya. Pralayo brahmanastuti, pralayo brahmanastuti. Tavad ayasati lokam, parasya parachintaka, dviparahavasaniya, pralayo brahmanastuti, tavadayasati lokam, parasya parachintaka, dviparadhavasaniya, pranasaniya, Pralayo Brahmanastuti, Pralayo Brahmanastuti, Tavadayasati lokam, Tavadayasati lokam, Parasya Parachintakaha. Dviparadhafasaniyaha, Pralayo Brahmanastute, Tavadayasate lokam, Parasya Parachintakaha. Dviparasaniyaha, Pralayo Brahmanastute, Tavadasyati lokam, Parasparachintakaha, Dviparadha, two paradas, afasane, at the end of, yaha, which, pralaha, death, Brahmana, of Lord Brahma, two, indeed, te, they, tavat, so long, adyasati, dwell, lokam, on the planet, parasya, of the Supreme, parachintakaha, thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Worshippers of Hiranyagarbha, expansion of the Personality of Godhead, remain within this material world until the end of two parahadhas, where Lord Brahma also dies. Translation again, worshippers of the Hiranyagarbha expansion of the Personality of Godhead remain within this material world until the end of two paradhas, where Lord Brahma also dies. Purport. One dissolution is at the end of Brahma's day, and one is at the end of Brahma's life. Brahma dies at the end of two paradhas, at which time the entire material universe is dissolved. Persons who are worshippers of Hiranyagarbha, the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, do not directly approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vaikuntha. They remain within this universe on Satyaloka or other higher planets until the end of the life of Brahma. Then, with Brahma, they are elevated to the spiritual kingdom. The words parasya parachintakaha mean always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or being always Krishna conscious. When we speak of Krishna, this refers to the complete category of Vishnu Tattva. Krishna includes the three Purusha incarnations, namely Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu, as well as all the incarnations taken together. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Ramadi Mriteshu Kalana Mina Tatastan. Lord Krishna is perpetually situated with his many expansions such as Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, Madhusudan, Vishnu and Narayan. He exists with all his plenary portions and the portions of his plenary portions, and each of them is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The words parasya parachintaka mean those who are fully Krishna conscious. Such persons enter directly into the kingdom of God, the Vaikuntha planets, or if they are worshippers of the plenary portion of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, they remain within this universe until its dissolution, and after that they enter. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation again. Worshippers of Hiranyagarbha expansion of the personality of Godhead remain within this material world until the end of the two Paradhas, when Lord Brahma also dies. Om Jnana Timirandasya Dhananjana Salakaya Chakshu Umilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but by the mercy of my spiritual master, he is kindly forcing open my eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Nama Om Vishnupada Krishna Pasta Bodhale Shumani Tamal Krishna Goswamin Iti Namine. So this chapter is entitled Entanglement of Fruitive Activities. So we can perform so many activities, as Lord Kapila is mentioning here. We can do many pious activities and perform our duties, but ultimately we have to dwindle and die. This is the ultimate end of all our activities, regardless of what fruitive activities we may do. We will have to dwindle and die, and then if we've done many pious activities, then we are destined to reach the higher planets, where we can carry on this program of sense enjoyment, which seems to be the main program in this material world, is how to satisfy the senses. The whole universe revolves around me. This is the whole mentality of one who is materially engrossed, thinking that I'm the center, and the goal of life is to please these senses. So when we come in touch with the devotees and Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita, he is telling us that we should not become servant of these senses, because these senses will bind us in this material world, and we will be restricted from reaching the eternal blissful life. We will be forced to repeatedly have to take birth here in this material world. So it is the intelligent person that contemplates these things. We can see in this age of Kali Yuga, everybody is like polished dogs. The dog is not thinking of preparing for the next life. The dog is just sniffing around, where is food, where is sex life. So we can see generally the mass of the population are like that. They are just interested in the here and now and satisfying this body, because unfortunately they are thinking that they are the body. This is the big predicament, or the dilemma, to think that we are these bags that are dwindling and dying and being thrown on the cremation pile. We unfortunately are strongly identifying like this, and this is causing us so much dilemma. So when we are fortunate, we read the Bhagavad Gita, we study the Bhagavad Gita, and then we hear of this devotional service, this process where we can become freed from the modes of material nature. So this is really a big secret, how to become freed from this entanglement of performing fruitive activities, and also how to become freed from this bodily identification, which all of us are in to some degree or other. We're all still identifying with our bodies to some degree. Some are more on the intellectual platform, but many are still we're on this gross platform of, feed me, satisfy my senses. So we are very fortunate when we hear of this process of devotional service and how it can elevate us to the Vaikuntha planets and beyond. So only those that are really serious or have got the realization that this life is so temporary. It is a very short life that we have here. And so how are we going to utilize this very short time? Only 100 years. We understand the life or the day of Brahma is such a long, long time. And we hear of how these personalities that are worshipping the Vishnu Tattvas remain with Lord Brahma in this, we understand also it is like an egg. They are inside this egg, entombed like that. So they are entrapped there also, waiting, such a long, long time. Such a long time, encaged like that. But still, eventually they will be freed. So if we are a little bit anxious and we want to get out, maybe we suffer from, what is it when you're confined into a space? Claustrophobic. So if we're a little bit claustrophobic and we realize, oh my God, I'm locked up in this universe, we want to get out. So anyhow, we can get out so much quicker if we are able to use our intelligence and approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the process of devotion. not expecting the fruit of activity. We are no longer working for a fruitive motive. We are simply working in the mood of bhakti, or this loving devotion to Krishna. We've given up the material pursuit, and we are thinking, my dear Lord, let me just please you. If I do not please you, then I will be struggling here lifetime after lifetime. But if I am able to please you, or even your associates, or even your servants, even if I can please your servants, then this will be pleasing to you. And this is really the goal, because my dear Lord, you are the one who is controlling this material energy. You are the one that is able to free us, or you are the one that is also able to leave us here in this material world for so many more lifetimes, even so many universes we can go into. So it is only the Lord's mercy and power that we are approaching. We are calling out for the Lord for assistance to help us become freed from our illusion of this bodily identification, and to help us taste this ruchi that we can get from performing devotional service. That also is readily available for us if we are doing the service in a nice way, if we are doing it in the mood of trying to please everyone. And we always hear this saying of, being a humble servant. But actually, when you do become a humble servant, you can relish so much within your heart. You can be walking along, maybe you walk around the temple every day, or whatever we're doing, we're wandering around, and we see a piece of rubbish. So we can either look at that and go and just ignore it and keep walking, or if we see that piece of rubbish and we think, this is Krishna's house, we want to keep it tidy, let me pick that piece of rubbish up. So we can pick up that piece of rubbish, and by doing such a simple thing as picking up a paper cup or a plate or whatever, we can get so much realization. This is how Krishna works. Krishna is pleased by these simple things. The simplest thing of picking up a piece of rubbish, Krishna can be pleased by that. And he can give us so much realization from within. This is how simple this process is. And it's how we cannot see what is going on within each and every one of us. As devotees, we cannot see what is going on within their heart and how they are relishing, simply picking up the rubbish. We can think that someone who is a madman, he'll be wandering around picking up rubbish and laughing to himself in great ecstasy because he is very blissful. So this is the inconceivable things of devotional service. You can do such menial service, but you can be so closely connected to Krishna. So this is the mystery of devotional service. It's not that we have to have big gold bracelets, gold watch, flash car, and be like that, because that is the material concept. We think that everybody who has got, well, in the age of Kali Yuga in this time, anyone who has got wealth, they are considered to be very important and very elevated. But we, as devotees, we are wondering, what is that person doing for Krishna? So if he is doing great things, then we offer all respects. But generally, if he is not inclined to pleasing Krishna, and he is still attached to pleasing his senses, then like Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, he would be very firm, like the Lion Guru. He would speak very harshly, very firmly, and even with Gaurkishore Das Babaji also, his disappearance was just recently. He would just ignore everybody. He would go and sit in an abominable place so that he didn't have to associate, and he would relish, chanting the holy names and performing devotional service internally. So this is something we have to gradually try to embrace, so that we can do so many things or so many simple acts to please Krishna. And by these simple acts of bhakti, we can become very strongly connected through this yoga process. We can be strongly connected to Krishna through our simple acts of devotional service. So this is what our philosophy is. This is what we're aspiring for. We are not so much interested in doing the fruitive acts, doing the big yagnas or what have you like that. Because, for us, myself personally, my grihasta situation is finished now. So we're no longer focusing on accumulating the money to provide for the family. We're simply thinking, what can I do today to please the devotees and to please Krishna? And in this way we make life very simple. It can actually become a very simple life. And therefore, when it is simple, our mind becomes freed, our mind can become steady, our mind can actually become strong, as being mentioned here in this purport. The Prabhupada mentions it twice, the translation for this parasya parachintaka, fully Krishna conscious, or what is it? Always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Again, not a very cheap thing. It's a very elevated thing to be always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not thinking of all the other things that can come into the mind. Namely, sense enjoyment like that is always coming in. So we can be a yogi, control our senses, become regulated in our activities, and in this way our mind becomes very fertile for remembering the pastimes of the Lord. And these are very wonderful pastimes, this narration of Lord Kapila Dev, because of his example and because of his teachings to his mother. And it is even said at the end of this chapter that anyone who hears, I'll just read the last verse here, it just shows us the potency of how if we engage our mind, what the benefit is. Anyone who once meditates upon me with faith and affection, who hears and chants about me, surely goes back home, back to Godhead. So this is the potency of thinking of Krishna. We are guaranteed to go back if we attentively, submissively hear these instructions. The Lord will assist us and help make our lives very easy. Not so much make them easy, but make them so that we can remember Him more and more. We may be in distress, but still we'll be thinking of Krishna. So this is the science. Engage your mind always of thinking of Krishna. Never forget Krishna, and everything else will be taken care of. So if you see a piece of rubbish, pick it up for Krishna, and He will be greatly pleased with that activity. He is watching us all the time. We know He's in our hearts. So we just have to try and do the best we can, day by day. We may fall short regularly as well. We may stumble and fall, but still, as long as our motivation is to please the Supreme Lord and His devotees, then we become very qualified to be able to reside here. It's like a benediction to reside here also. We hear of these personalities who reside on the higher Vaikuntha planets. So to be able to reside here at New Varshan is also like a benediction or a boon that we get. So it's not by chance that we are here. We are here because of our past activities. So we should be conscious of that and take every day very, very seriously. Okay, I'll leave it there. I'll just read the translation again. Worshippers of Hiranyagarbha, the expansion of the personality of Godhead, remain within this material world until the end of two paradhas, when Lord Brahma also dies. Any questions, comments? No, all good? Okay, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi.